ramble! Okay, you guys, so today we're going to be reading a fun book called Mr. Putter and Tabby Hit the Slope.
This book was written by Cynthia Rylant, and all the illustrations were drawn by Arthur Howard.
Yeah.
Kind of a famous duo, these two.
All right. Mr. Putter and Tabby Hit the Slope. Illustrated by Arthur Howard.
Chapter 1. Slow.
Mr. Putter and his fine cat Tabby liked winter, but sometimes things were a little bit too slow.
There were no tulips to tend. There were no berries to pick. The hammock was under 3 feet of snow.
We need some fun, said Mr. Putter to
Me
Tabby.
too. I want some fun. He thought, what would be fun in the winter? Then he remembered.
Chapter 2, The Best Fun. When Mr. Putter was a boy, he had a red sled with silver runners, and that was the best fun of all in the winter.
He would go to the top of the highest hill, and he would shout, "Cowabunga!" And he would fly down the hill.
Oh, look at him having so much fun. He was a very good sledder. He gave other people rides too.
Winter was not slow in those days. Mr. Putter thought, why should winter be slow in these days? He called Mrs. Teaberry.
Chapter 3, The Slope. Of course, Miss Teaberry had sleds. Miss Teaberry had everything. She lived next door with her good dog, Zeke, and they were always prepared. One look in the garage said so.
Mr. Putter called Mrs. Teaberry, and the next thing he knew, he was on the slope in his mittens. He had a lot more than just mittens on.
Tabby was wearing a sweater Mrs. Teaberry had knitted her for Christmas. It was a little bit itchy, which made Tabby a little twitchy. Her tail was very twitchy, but she was very warm.
Mrs. Teaberry and Zeke were dressed for the Alps.
Mr. Putter looked at them and said, "You are dressed for the Alps!"
Mrs. Teaberry was very adventurous. Mr. Putter liked that about her. His adventures mostly came on the porch with a book. That is, until he met Mrs. Teaberry.
Mr. Putter looked down the slope. He was ready.
Chapter 4. Like a rocket. Mr. Putter wanted Tabby to ride the sled with him. Tabby was not so sure. Her tail was very, very twitchy. Mr. Putter tried to put her on the sled. He thought she would like it.
But he was wrong. Tabby was not liking it.
Then Zeke jumped on the sled with Tabby, and that was that.
The next thing Mr. Putter knew, he had no sled, no cat, and no fun. Fun was already half downward the slope.
"Hop on!" shouted Mrs. Teaberry. Mr. Putter did not want to hop on. He wanted his own sled.
But he hopped on anyway. "Cowabunga!" shouted Miss Teaberry.
Mr. Putter and Mrs. Teaberry flew down the slope like a rocket.
They caught up with the other sled. Mr. Putter and Mrs. Teaberry looked over at Tabby and Zeke. Tabby and Zeke looked over at Mr. Putter and Tabby. "Good dog, Zeke!" called Mr. Teaberry. Oh, Miss Teaberry.
Zeke wagged. He was happy. Tabby twitched. She was not.
Mr. Putter just held on.
Chapter 5. Muffins and Cream. Everyone came to a stop at the bottom of the slope. Tabby jumped off the sled and went right up a tree. And she would not come down until Mr. Putter promised her muffins and cream. Then she came down.
When Mr. Putter and Tabby went home, they took off their wet clothes and they had a warm bath. And they also had muffins and cream on the day on the slope that had worn them out.
So they curled up together in Mr. Putter's chair. They closed their eyes and no one twitched.
Of course.
The end.
Crew W out.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.